Hi, this is Jack with Jack Ma Real Estate Group at Century 21 Master. Welcome to my new video. Now, if you were paying attention to the real estate market this year, you probably noticed that there was not a lot of home available on the market for sale. And as a matter of fact, there was only about 40 to 50% less home available as of January 1st of this year compared to January 1st of last year. I mean, that was crazy. We thought inventory last year was slow. What that also means that if you are in the market to purchase, you may be a little bit frustrated because you're seeing 5, 10, 15, or even 20 competing offers. And that also means that your offer has probably less than 10% chance of getting accepted. But don't get discouraged. We're able to help a couple clients recently to not only get a property, but also beat out some offers that are actually higher or even a cash offer. And I'm going to share with you how we're able to accomplish that. And hopefully this will help you in your journey to purchase a house. Stay tuned. Welcome back. And before I start, I just want to remind you, if you find this video helpful, please share it with a friend, subscribe to my YouTube page, or like my Facebook page. Okay, so how do we get an offer accepted? First of all, we all know that highest dollar amount will get your offer accepted. That's almost like a no-brainer, right? But at the same time, it's not always guaranteed. Why is that? Why would people forego some money or leave some money on the table and take a lower offer? That's because everyone has different risk tolerance. And when we're talking about real estate transaction, the risk tolerance for a seller means that is the transaction gonna close successfully? Because after all, even if the price is super high and the transaction did not close at the end of the day, the seller still get nothing. So this certainty on how strong the offer is becomes also an important part of consideration for a seller. So if we can increase the certainty of an offer, sometimes, not always, sometimes, even if your price is not the highest, you can still get an offer accepted. So let's take a look at a couple of things we can do to increase that certainty in the eyes of a seller and to help you get your offer accepted. So the first tip I want to share with you is probably one that you already know and you probably were already using on your past offers. That's shortening the contingency period. A contingency period is time frame where a buyer can back out on the transaction without having to forfeit the deposit. So when it's shorter, the seller will know if this transaction or this sale gonna go through sooner than later. And even if it's not, the seller did not waste too much time and they can remarket the property, or oftentimes there was another buyer that are second in line and they have yet to find a property, so they're ready to get in escrow right away. So this presents almost zero risk for you as a buyer. Now the second tip is also zero to minimum risk for you as a buyer, and that's consider bumping up or increasing your deposit amount. So usually you're asked to put a 3% deposit on your offers. Why? Because there's a clause on the residential purchase agreement that states if in case of buyer's default, the seller can keep up to 3%. Just bear in mind that's only if that clause is signed, so make sure you sign that clause. And so why by increasing the deposit works? Because first of all, most sellers didn't know about this clause. So if they see 10% deposit, they think it's 10%. And second, sometimes, I hate to say this, sometimes some of the agent doesn't even know this. Now, when a seller sees 10%, what do you think they're gonna see? Wow, this buyer is really serious. Everyone's putting 3%, but this guy is putting 10%. So, but just make sure you initial on that liquidated damage clause, so making sure that your risk is limited. But essentially, this presents almost zero risk as well, or at least no more risk than a regular offer. Now, the third one I want to go over with you is one that gives the seller the most certainty because it's a non-contingent offer. But this is also one that I would not recommend in most cases, unless you're absolutely 100% comfortable with your financial situation or with the situation of the property. because when you present a non-contingent offer, basically once the contracts are signed by both parties, it's a done deal. There's no way to back out. You're gonna lose your deposit. Even if you find something major during the inspection, you can back out. Even if the seller doesn't want to take care of it, you can back out because you're gonna lose the deposit. Or if for whatever reason your loan didn't get funded, didn't get approved, you can back out without losing the deposit. So there's just a lot of risk for you as a buyer, and that's why this is one I rarely recommend. Now, this comes to the golden part, the best part. The fourth option that I've been utilizing and that's been proven to help a lot of my clients is to make a portion of the deposit non-refundable. And sometimes it doesn't even have to be a lot of money. On a smaller purchase, it could be $2,000, $3,000, or if you're comfortable, the more you put on there, the more certainly the seller has, the higher chance it's gonna get your offer accepted. So what does that mean? So we know that 3% of deposit, it's gonna be liquidate the damage for a seller in case of buyer default. But that's after you remove the contingency. So let's say if you decided that you want to put a $5,000 deposit that's non-refundable, meaning regardless what's the reason the buyer did not buy this property, that $5,000 is non-refundable. It's going to be released to the seller. Why is it powerful? Because number one, it shows the seller that you're very serious about purchasing and closing this deal. Number two, it shows the seller that you are very confident with your loan, or else you wouldn't put $5,000 on the line. And number three, it also shows that you're not gonna be in trouble even after the inspection, because as long as the inspection, the repair cost is not gonna exceed $5,000, you're probably not gonna ask them for anything because they can simply say no, and you can't even back out. And the fourth one, the benefit is, you're basically saying to the seller that, hey, take a chance on me. It's probably gonna close, but even if it doesn't, you're still up a couple $1,000s. So a lot of the time, in my opinion, this actually outcompetes a cash offer, because a cash buyer can still find its stuff in the inspection and ask for a credit or back out. So that's what makes this powerful. So all these are different things you can use to help get your offer accepted. But would it work on every case? No, because sellers have different risk tolerance. For people that have higher risk tolerance, they probably would rather take something higher price, and hey, even if it doesn't go through, it's okay. But for people with a lower risk tolerance, they like to have those certainty, knowing that a transaction is going to go through. They don't have to go through the process again. Yeah, so these are a couple things that I know it's going to help get your offer accepted. Hope you learned something today. And if you want to learn more about these or some of my other techniques on how to structure your offer to get your offer accepted, let me know. I can always be reached at 909-610-5188. Thank you, and have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye-bye.